Lot 136, Lautrec's poster for the chapbook, which he designed in 1895, is somewhat of an anomaly. The chapbook was an American publication. The publishers sent out agents in Paris to find French artists to help advertise their publication, and Lautrec was chosen. What Lautrec chose to publicize the chapbook was certainly something very common to him, although it's kind of hard for us to understand why he thought it would be appropriate for this literary magazine. But it was a bar, the Irish-American bar on the Rue Royale, where Lautrec was a frequent patron and drinker. And while his reasons for choosing this bar are lost on history, the results are magnificent. As in so many of Lautrec's posters, this image highlights his extraordinary use of the diagonal, his exceptional use of the blank space, and his ability to capture the essence and the nature of the people he knew throughout his everyday life in as few strokes as possible. If you look in the gentleman all the way on the right side, in his boutonniere he has a bright red flower. See if you can find any bright red anywhere else in the poster. In fact, it's the only evidence of red in the image, and this means just for this boutonniere, Lautrec must have created an entirely separate stone to get that color on. That kind of attention to detail is what separates Lautrec's work from everybody else's. Lot 129 is a poster without text for Aristide Bruant. More specifically, it's the poster before text. Aristide Bruant was one of the great performers of Montmartre, who had his own nightclub, who was one of the great showmen and a friend of Lautrec's. And Lautrec had designed a poster for him several years earlier, and through Lautrec's design, he had managed to put Aristide Bruant on the map. He turned him into an international sensation on the basis of his poster alone. And Bruant, being the savvy showman, realized that Lautrec was able to help him in this manner and continued employing him to design posters. This poster, again, we see Lautrec's genius economy of line. With a few simple strokes, with a few simple, bold colors, red and black, he distills Bruant down to the essence of his character, which is the big cloak, the big hat, and his haughty, arrogant profile. The poster is quite literally an icon of the era, and it was an icon during its own time. Bruant was so taken with this image, he had it engraved on lamps within his nightclub and drawn onto the walls. It really was like a Hard Rock Cafe logo for its time. One of the other great artists represented in this auction is Alphonse Mucha, the Czechoslovak-born graphic designer who basically came to personify the Art Nouveau movement. He did his best work in Paris in the 1890s. And if we look at lot 114, Monaco, from 1897, we see Mucha in the full-blown glory of his creation. This divine woman amidst an exuberant floral spray, advertising travel to Monaco. Monaco? Wait a second. I don't really see Monaco in the poster. And that's one of the things that's so exceptional about it. Mucha was such a prominent artist. He designed the most atypical travel poster imaginable, where Monaco is merely suggested by the curve of the bay in the background. Not only can't you see the town, but the woman, the central figure in the poster, actually has her back to the ocean and she's facing the viewer. This image is all about the Mucha maiden. This image is all about the ornamentation, and Mucha holds nothing back. It is an over-the-top floral flourish that shows Mucha in his absolute glory. What may be hard for you to see on camera is that some of the ink that Mucha uses is actually metallic. The silver in the poster glistens in the light as it's a metallic silver ink. Some have suggested that the round sprays of flowers suggest the train wheels that can bring visitors down to Monaco. Some suggest the roundness also implies the roulette wheels for which this Côte d'Azur town was famous. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that for such an elegant town to have such an important artist design such a beautiful poster, it must have been a real tourism coup. In addition to posters, the auction also features some original artwork, and lot 113 is a finished drawing by Alphonse Mucha, which was to appear on the cover of Ainsley's magazine in 1904. Again, we see these wonderful sprays of flowers. While some of the image appears to be unfinished, Mucha intentionally left it that way, choosing instead to focus on the details of the women's faces, their hair, and all of the foliage surrounding them. Done in ink and wash on artist board, it's an incredible original piece of art hand-signed by Mucha himself. Lot 116, Job, which Mucha designed in 1896, showcases all of his signature design elements. It really is the Mucha of Muchas. Here you have a fabulously beautiful woman with this most luxurious, tenderly hair, voluminous and gorgeous in the way it cascades off her head, falling into pasta-like ringlets. In fact, this hair at the time was known to connoisseurs and fans of Mucha as spaghetti hair. And if you look at it, you can see why. Again, this poster is designed with metallic ink, so the golds will actually glisten in the light. But also, if you look in the background, if you look at the wallpaper behind the woman, there, elegantly outlined, are the initials of the company being advertised. It's funny, when you see such a beautiful image, you wonder what incredible product can this gorgeous artwork be advertising. The truth is, it's something as mundane as rolling paper. Job rolling paper is what Mucha is advertising here. And you can see the smoke from the woman's cigarette is also forming this just extraordinary decorative pattern as it wafts into the air past her luxurious hair. Other telltale signs of Mucha genius are the mosaic-style patterns of the border and his choice of colors, the purple and the gold together. This was a man who obsessed over every detail and managed to get every single one right. Lot 117, a Salon de Cent, designed the same year as the Job poster, 1896, seems to be another unabashed paean to the flowing hair capable of emanating out of a beautiful woman's head. The Salon de Cent was an exhibition hall for which a lot of the famous turn-of-the-century artists designed posters, Mucha being included. And this fantastic poster is a tribute to his enduring popularity even during his lifetime. And like so many of the other images in the sale, the condition of this poster is as fresh and clean as the day it was printed. Lot 125, Bière de la Muse, was designed a year after the previous two posters that we've just looked at. And it is just a tour de force of color and design and of unadulterated joy. Again, advertising a fairly mundane product. Bière de la Muse, a local beer syndicate in a region of France, Mucha has taken a maiden and transformed her into an allegory of all that everybody could ever want her to be, sitting there with poppies in her hair, with a whole harvest of hops and barley, drinking a frothy beer, wearing a sexy belt, leaning over small vignettes of the brewery and the Meuse River. A beautiful woman in a sexy belt coming out of her dress drinking a beer. If this image doesn't presage contemporary beer advertising, I don't know what does. But not to belittle the artistry or the subtlety of this image, while we can look at it with our contemporary eyes and see one thing, in its day, this poster must have stood out like a beacon on the walls with its bright colors, with its winsome and attractive and sexy imagery. It's no wonder it's one of Mucha's most famous posters.